Welcome to today's deep dive. We are jumping into a really fascinating essay today.
Yeah, it's definitely one that makes you stop and reevaluate, everything you're doing at work.
Totally. It's an essay from July 2026 called The Judgment Reservoir by Shanfu Wang. And our mission today is to figure out the invisible cost of AI accelerated execution.
Right, because we're going to explore why getting so much faster at our jobs is actually like draining our human judgment.
Yeah, and exactly how you can rebuild it before it's too late. So to set the stage here, I want you to imagine for a second that you are prepping for your annual board meeting.
Which is stressful enough on its own.
Oh, absolutely. But by every metric, it has been the best year ever. I mean, your product teams cleared those massive backlogs, engineering shipped double, and customer support times dropped by like 40% because of AI.
So on paper, you're a hero. The machine is humming.
Exactly. But there's a catch. The AI investments were supposed to drive, say, 30 to 50% revenue growth, but instead it's only at 6%.
Which is just a massive letdown when you're expecting those kind of transformative numbers.
Yeah, and the energy in the office is just dead. Like, meetings feel totally mechanical. People are just making these sensible choices, but no one is making brave ones anymore.
Well, and to understand that dead energy, you really have to look at the rubber stamp era we're in.
Right.
Wong shares this incredible story about a VP of engineering who resigned. And she didn't leave because of burnout, which is usually what happens.
Right, so why did she leave?
She left because she was reduced to a rubber stamp. Her team brought her 3 AI-generated proposals for this huge enterprise integration architecture.
Okay, and let me guess, the proposals looked amazing.
Oh, they were flawless. The metrics for complexity, maintainability, they all looked perfect. But with 20 years of experience, she just felt this structural weakness for enterprise scaling.
Wow, she just sensed it.
Yeah, but because she couldn't point to a specific metric in their spreadsheet to justify her concern, the room just treated her judgment as a polite footnote.
That is wild.
I know. They just picked the top-scoring AI option and moved on.
Okay, let's unpack this, because Wong uses this really great analogy here. He compares it to a paint store.
Oh, yeah, the paint store analogy is perfect for this.
Right. So AI has entirely shifted the bottleneck. In the past, the bottleneck was producing options. It took forever to come up with one good idea.
Yeah, you'd spend weeks drafting one proposal.
But now, AI gives us 100 plausible options in literally seconds. So the bottleneck is evaluating them. It's like staring at 100 shades of white paint.
And every single swatch looks, totally fine on its own.
Exactly. But to pick the right one, an experienced interior designer doesn't just look at the swatch. She looks at what's not on the swatch.
Like the lighting in the room or the furniture.
Yeah, or the maple floors, or the fact that you have a muddy sheepdog, or kids spilling grape juice everywhere.
Right, she has context.
So if the sheer volume of these quote-unquote good options is draining our bandwidth, how do we tell the difference between a plausible option and the actual right option?
Well, that brings up the paella problem.
Oh, this story's so good.
It really is. So Wong talks about this Spanish restaurant in Shanghai, and they served this paella that looked visually perfect. I mean, carbon steel pan, beautiful colors, the works.
Sounds amazing so far.
Right. But when he tasted it, it tasted exactly like fried rice. The chef had basically replicated the visual pattern without ever having tasted real paella.
Wait, I have to push back here, though, because isn't cheap experimentation sort of the whole point of AI?
How do you mean?
Well, like, if that restaurant gets a super fast new rice cooker and can iterate 100 times a day, won't the data eventually just give us the right answer?
What's fascinating here is that speed of iteration without taste just means you're going in the wrong direction faster.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Generating cheap options doesn't work if you literally don't know what real paella is supposed to taste like. It goes back to Daniel Kahneman's idea of System 1 and System 2 thinking.
Right. System 1 being the fast, automatic thinking, and System 2 being the slow, deliberate kind.
Exactly. True judgment happens when that slow, painful System 2 work done under pressure over years compresses into System 1 pattern recognition.
So it becomes instinct.
Yes. But AI filters out the friction that forces System 2 to engage. It basically shuts down the factory that makes human judgment.
So if judgment requires friction to form, where exactly does it come from? Because our current systems aren't producing it anymore.
It comes from the white space. Wong compares an Amazon PRFAQ document to a COE, which is a correction of errors document.
Okay, what's the difference there?
Well, the PRFAQ is a highly polished pitch document. It survives for years on the wiki, but it totally misses the 3 weeks of hallway debates and struggles that actually produced it.
Got it. Just shows the final answer.
Yeah, and Wong quotes the designer Massimo Vignelli here. He said, typography is really white. It is the space between the blacks that really makes it.
That's a great quote. So AI trains on the blacks, the artifacts, but misses the white space.
Exactly. It misses the political context, the struggle, the actual judgment. For example, Wong had to write a COE after this massive Amazon Kinesis US East 1 outage.
Oh man, outages are the worst. How long was it down?
31 and a half hours. It took down the entire global catalog pipeline.
That is a nightmare scenario.
Total nightmare. And writing the COE for it meant tracing 5 levels deep into the architecture's implicit assumptions. It led to 30 granular corrective actions.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Reading someone else's COE gives you information, but writing it gives you judgment.
Yes, exactly. You have to feel the pain.
It's the difference between reading a recipe and actually burning a meal to learn how your stove works. Observation has to be paired with real consequence.
And if our apprentices aren't writing the code or owning those 3 a.m. outages anymore, they never get that consequence. They just use AI to generate the fix.
So if everyone is just using the same AI to generate answers, what happens to entire industries?
You get competitive convergence. Wong talks about his time at a GPS navigation company. Google had just come out with free navigation, putting them under massive pressure.
Right, because how do you compete with free?
Exactly. So he made this really improbable choice. He pitched a complete rebuild onto a new API platform.
That sounds incredibly risky.
It was. He led a Tiger team for 6 months. It cost them a dozen engineers whose roles shrank. But years later, that new platform secured massive fleet deals with GM and Toyota.
Wow. So it paid off huge.
It did. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that improbable choice is where actual innovation happens. It's choosing the path the data doesn't fully support yet.
But AI defaults to consensus, right?
Exactly. If every competitor uses the same frontier models, trained on the same data, they will all independently choose the most probable, safe strategy.
So what does this all mean? Are we just creating a giant echo chamber? Are companies going to accidentally merge into identical versions of each other?
Basically, yeah. Because they're all just picking the AI's top option.
This kind of industry-wide convergence and this skill atrophy, it feels like a catastrophic crash waiting to happen. Has this ever happened before?
It actually has, in commercial aviation. Back in 1988, the Airbus A320 introduced full digital fly-by-wire.
Meaning the computers were basically flying the plane.
Yeah, pilots went from active operators to just system monitors. And by 1996, the FAA was already warning about automation dependency.
Because they were losing their edge.
Exactly. And then came the tragedies. Air France Flight 447, where the sensors iced over and pilots couldn't fly manually at high altitude.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And Asiana Flight 214, which crashed on a clear day just because of over-reliance on automated glide slope guidance. An FAA official literally said, "We're forgetting how to fly."
So this raises an important question.
Yeah.
I mean, did the industry rip out the autopilot?
No, not at all. The automation expanded the industry massively. It was too valuable.
So how did they fix it?
The FAA mandated that pilots had to deliberately hand fly regularly. They had to go through rigorous simulator training to intentionally maintain the judgment that the autopilot was degrading.
And that is such a key takeaway for you listening right now. The AI era isn't the end of human judgment. It's the beginning of an era where judgment must be deliberately designed.
Yes, you can't just absorb it accidentally at the water cooler anymore.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. How do you build manual flying into your organization's daily work?
Wong gives us 4 pillars for rebuilding this judgment reservoir. The first one is visibility.
Like making the work more public.
Exactly. Toby Lutke, the CEO of Shopify, built this AI agent called River in Slack, but he made it refuse direct messages.
Oh, that's smart. So you have to talk to it in public channels.
Right, so all AI problem solving becomes an open classroom for junior staff to watch and learn from.
That's brilliant. What's the second pillar?
Consequential role design. Think about medical residents. Junior staff need to own bounded but real failures.
Right. They need to feel that 3 a.m. operational risk, or they'll never develop the intuition to prevent it.
Exactly. The third pillar is incorporating judgment. Decision systems have to accept the absence of signal.
What did that mean, absence of signal?
While Wong references Sherlock Holmes as the dog that didn't bark, sometimes the most important clue is what's missing. Systems need to make space for a senior engineer's instinct, even if the data matrix disagrees.
So you need an override button for human intuition.
Pretty much. And the final pillar is judgment renewal. Don't just use AI to pick from a list.
Yeah, this is something you can apply right now. Form your own view first. Start with your own hypothesis, and then use AI as an adversary to stress test it.
Right. Make it poke holes in your argument instead of making the argument for you.
Exactly. So are you letting AI generate your options, or are you forcing yourself to take a position first? Execution used to be the constraint, and it built our judgment for free.
But today, execution is cheap.
Yeah, and judgment is the most valuable, rapidly depleting resource we have. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Go for it.
If today's AI models are so capable because they trained on this vast reservoir of human struggle and white space from the last few decades, what happens to the next generation of AI models?
Oh, that is a scary thought.
Right. If we stop producing that white space, if humans stop making improbable choices, will the AI itself eventually plateau, just starved of the human friction it needs to learn from?
It just might. We have to keep creating that friction.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Get out there and build your own judgment reservoir. We'll catch you next time.